Previously on Nightwood Guns. The original P320 Spectre left much to be desired with its mostly cosmetic upgrades. Can Sig Sauer salvage the reputation of the Spectre?
Has the legendary Super Saiyan emerged at last?
Stay tuned to find out on this episode of Nightwood Guns. Hello everybody, I'm Brett and welcome to Nightwood Guns. My people, you know how I feel about the name Spectre.
Thermal clips on the ground now, power cells too.
Smart move, taking a hostage. The Spectre does whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yes, we do.
But you're forgetting something, Vasir. I'm a Spectre too.
So this time around, does the Sig Sauer Spectre comp live up to the name? Before we get into the review, I make like no money on these videos. I'm an author, wrote 2 short novels, Armed Instinct and its sequel Countdown to Dawn. They are kick-ass action books written by a gun guy, so you know he got it right. Even if you're not a reader, I wrote these things to read like movies in your head. You'll love them anyways. Check the link in the description below to get yourself a couple of copies. If you're one of the thousands of people that have purchased my books already, be sure to leave a review on Amazon. Those are hard to come by. Also, I am but a humble channel, so be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. If we all work together and use the power of friendship, we can overcome the YouTube algorithm together. As the suspense reaches its crescendo, let's get into the review. Now, if you watched my review of the SIG P320 Spectre, you will know that I am not a fan of P320s. That being said, the SIG P320 Spectre comp solves all of the issues that I had with the P320. As per the usual, we're going to talk about the great stuff first, and then at the end, we're going to talk about negatives, constructive criticism. So be sure to stick around to hear the stuff that I wasn't too crazy about, because it might sway you one way or the other. First of all, right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. This gun looks awesome. With its gold titanium nitride coated barrel and trigger.
I love gold!
And the gray Legion frame, the stylish slide serrations, lightning cuts, the milling on the top of the slide that's there just for style. This gun exists for people who love cool guns. Look at this piece of modern art. With the awesome aesthetics out of the way, something that I loved about the original P320 Spectre was its stippling from the factory. This Spectre laser stippling is super grippy and it goes all the way up the grip. So when you're gripping the gun properly and the drumstick of this hand is pressed against the frame, you are getting full coverage of this incredible stippling to help keep the gun shooting flat in your hand. And of course, you know I love the X series grip frame. The thing fits my hand perfectly. The grip angle is incredible and also looks so good, that beaver tail, And then that's when we get into the grip that originally came along on the X5 Legion. It is a tungsten infused polymer grip with a weight in the backstrap. This thing is like the Metal Gear Rex of handguns. It is a brute, but much like the high stippling, the weight keeps it shooting flat. Magwell, also a nice touch, always appreciate a good magwell. It also adds more weight to the gun, which keeps it shooting flatter as well. While we're on the topic of the magwell, just be aware that you can't use standard flush fit P320 magazines. If you want something flush fit, you are gonna have to go with the Legion base plates, because then it will seat perfectly. But of course, the factory 21 round magazines that it comes with, I love me some juicy capacity. Now, I've been beating around the bush this whole time. Let's talk about the comp. After all, it is called the Spectre comp. Does the comp work? Absolutely 100%. This comp kicks ass. Does it work as well as other aftermarket comps? Almost. However, SIG designed this gun to function with all factory ammo. And as anyone who's fooled around with aftermarket comps knows, it can be really tricky finding a combination of recoil spring weight and ammunition that runs reliably in a comped gun. I can genuinely say that this comp runs everything. 115, 124, 147, 90 grain, plus P offerings, hollow points, flat nose, round nose. This thing runs it all. And for me, reliability is my #1 deal breaker on a gun. This comp works and it runs reliably with every ammo offering from the factory. Now, something that SIG was bragging about was the angle cut on the comp that will blow the gases and the debris and the muzzle blast away from you. So if you were shooting this thing from retention, you wouldn't get a hot debris facial. Instead, it blows everything away from you downrange. Now the question is, does this work? Or is it a gimmick? Again, SIG is having a winning streak with this gun because I'm pleasantly surprised it is not a gimmick this actually works. You can see I'm gonna post a picture of the SIG Spectre comp and a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 with a ported barrel, so you can see the difference between a regular comp or ports that blow everything straight up and even some of it back at you versus the Spectre comp that literally tosses it all away from you. So taking a closer look at the comp, something that I feel that goes unnoticed is the way that it mates to the slide. There's a hump right here on the slide that goes around, almost acting like a taper that actually mates up inside the comp, as you can see right there. It fits together and locks up really tight. And I think this is one of the reasons that I was able to shoot this group at 25 yards from a rest. The accuracy on this thing is absolutely insane, and I can only imagine that the taper from the slide to the comp, creating a very consistent lockup with the barrel, definitely is helping accuracy on this thing. Something else that's amazing about the engineering of this gun, since this has the shorter slide with the longer barrel, the gun actually cycles faster, which returns it to target much sooner and allows you to press the trigger faster. So if you're somebody who can shoot fast enough to notice that kind of difference, it's a huge advantage. So now that we've discussed the comp, how's the trigger? I'm just going to show clear to set a good example for any new gun owners or shooters that might be watching my channel. The trigger is good. I would say good, not great. I would say like 8 out of 10, it's a B. So let's try the trigger. Got a little bit of pre-travel here, not too much. Hit a wall. It's kind of a rolling brake. Brakes right there at 90 degrees, which is pretty neat. Let's go ahead and give the reset a try, and it's a little springy, which is good. So I mentioned earlier that the SIG P320 Spectre comp fixes a lot of the issues that I have with the SIG P320. The issues that I have with the SIG P320 is the bore axis sucks. There's a lot of frame in between your hand and the slide, and the slide is a thick boy, and there's a lot of reciprocating mass over the top of your hand. Is it a huge issue? Absolutely not, but when you compare it to other striker fire offerings, it's definitely a disadvantage. That being said, all of the weight that they've packed onto this metal gear of a gun, along with the stellar comp, makes this thing shoot like a dream. And I'm not kidding, out of all the handguns that I've personally fired, this one shoots the third best, beaten out only by 2011s and the CZ Shadow series. The fact that a P320 can actually get third place next to those and beat out everything else that I've shot really goes to show how stellar the Spectre comp is. $1,500 is what I paid for this gun. Was it worth it? I would say yes, you are getting what you pay for. There's a shit ton of custom work done to this gun. I was seeing these things on Gunbroker going for like $2 grand. No, this is not a $2,000 gun. This is barely a $1,500 gun, and I do recommend it for that price. So now that I've touched on the big pros of the handgun, let's get into negatives, starting with a positive that actually rolls into a negative. I am so happy that SIG put RMR holes in the top of this slide. However, there are no recoil bosses on it, and because of that, if you mount an RMR or an SRO on here, all of the stress from that reciprocating slide is going to be put on the screws, which will probably eventually shear off and send the optic flying into your face. So just know, if you're going to put a Trijicon RMR or SRO on here, you are going to have to get an aftermarket filler plate that has the recoil bosses and fits tight, because the cut is too long for the RMR. Rolling into more negatives, the finish and the slide serrations on this guy are kind of slick, and the serrations don't really bite into your hand, so it's kind of easy to slip your hand off the gun when you're trying to rack it, because, like I said, the finish is kind of glossy and slick, and the serrations aren't very deep. As you can see, they're there for style. They're there to look good. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I've had this gun for a couple of weeks, and I've put quite a few rounds through it. I'm struggling to come up with negatives for this. One thing I will mention is this comp is not designed to come off the gun. You can see it has a couple of set screws there. I'm sure they are red Loctited on there. The comp is threaded on. It is not designed to come off. So when you're cleaning this thing, you cannot take the barrel out to clean the barrel. However, it was so much easier than I was expecting to actually manipulate and move the barrel around. I could still easily get a bore brush down there. What I thought was going to be a negative for the gun ended up being a non-issue altogether. I don't know, guys. I don't normally do scores for guns, but I think this is one of the few that could be a contender for a perfect 10. While it's nowhere even close to being able to compete with something like a 2011, especially a comped one like the XC.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
But at a third of the price, this is the closest you can get in a factory striker-fired offering. In other words, this gets the Nightwood Guns seal of approval because it thoroughly impressed me. I hope you enjoyed the video, everybody. Be sure to check out my books in the link in the description below. If you're one of the thousands of people that have enjoyed my books already, be sure to leave reviews on Amazon. That is the #1 way you can support me. Other than that, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Brett, and this was Nightwood Guns. Nightwood out.